Hi guys, happy Tuesday. Welcome to the morning after. So this is episode 6. Wow, we're already halfway and that's crazy. I've been loving this season. I have not hidden that. I will start, of course, with our Maltesers moment of the week. And remember, a Maltesers moment, hashtag light goal, is a play on a hashtag life goal. So small, attainable goals in everyday life. And my Maltesers moment this week is when Kendall said to Crystal on their 2-on-1 date, saying something hurtful doesn't necessarily mean you win, it just means you hurt somebody. And this is a very serious Maltesers moment this week. Sometimes they're a little more lighthearted. I just thought this was such a powerful 2 sentences. This girl's so mature beyond her years. She's only 26. But think about what a better world we would live in if more people saw, I don't know, just interactions this way, conflict this way. Just the thought of not hurting people for the sake of it. I just was really hit by that quote, and I just had to share it. I thought that she really, it was a mic drop moment, and I think it might have been a little lost on Crystal. That's okay, because we all got the quote out of it. And hi, Helen from Toronto. Hi. So I have a special guest today. Our very own Canadian Bachelorette, Jasmine Lorimer, is visiting me today, so she's going to come sit next to me now. Yay! She's just sitting over on the side. Yeah, it's now. Yay! Okay,
Hello.
So the story with Jasmine and this season is, you have not been watching this.
No, I have not.
Okay. We watched episode 6 together, though.
Yeah.
And she has heard plenty about the season.
Yes. I've heard a lot of negative things, unfortunately, about the season. Like that Ari's boring and that he never says anything and he just starts making out with the girls. But I didn't find that to be the case at all watching.
Yeah. We obviously we're friends for a reason. We think similarly, and she completely agreed that Ari is great. I don't really get the flack he's getting. So I'm going to go through in chronological order, starting with the women and just the whole crew arriving in Paris. And I thought it stood out to me when Crystal in ITM said that Ari gave her a rose. Ari brought her to Paris, and it's like his grand gesture. And it really goes to show that she is kind of being fooled, I think, by the manipulation of production.
Yeah.
Like, she thinks that all of those things are his actions alone.
Totally.
Yeah.
That he's choosing her and that
and
she's the only one there.
Yeah, exactly. And there's no production involved in that. I also thought there was a bit of fourth wall breakage here. I thought there was, and then there wasn't. Crystal says, I wonder who will be on the 2-on-1 with me. And then she laughs, and she said, I'm such an obvious choice for the 2-on-1. And so I was like, oh my God, she knows she's the villain. She knows that she would go on the 2-on-1. And then she says, I've had a target on my back since my date. And I was like, oh, okay. So she actually thinks she's going on the 2-on-1 because she had an early 1-on-1 date.
Right.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to try and plow through in chronological order. Lauren B. I should just stop calling her Lauren B. She's just Lauren. Lauren. Okay.
I'm only in here as like a 1-episode watcher. So
yeah,
I don't
she's
know
the only Lauren. There were
Okay.
4 Laurens.
Oh.
4. Okay, so Lauren B. I loved when Ari in an ITM said, I sometimes get the sense that Lauren's not really into me.
Yeah, I know.
Like, why wouldn't you like him? He's so cute.
Humble and sweet.
Yeah, exactly. So humble. We never see this kind of humility from a lead because they're just in such a position of power. It's usually they're doing the picking. It's not like, oh, I hope she likes me. And it ties into what I said last week for my Pretty Pandas readers, that it feels like Lauren's the one sizing Ari up and not the other way around. And I really, really like that. I love it when the power is imbalanced like that. And so I like the relationship. It's very interesting. That said, their date portion of the date was kind of frustrating.
Yeah. They just walked around and didn't say anything to each other.
Yeah,
and I was just like sitting beside Sharleen being like, don't they have so much to say?
Yeah, she was so frustrated.
Like, they have everything to say to each other.
Yeah, I know.
They must have so many questions about each other. Why aren't they talking?
Yeah, it just felt like drawing blood from a stone. Like, I felt like she was just putting the ball in his court every single time.
Yeah. Not taking initiative on her own.
No. That said, in the evening, it comes out that Lauren has trust issues. And I thought Ari's story here was very sad and very moving. And my favorite thing about it was that it was relevant because he was empathizing with her and relating to her trust issues. Because
through his own experience.
Yeah, his own experience. This is one of the perks of having a slightly older bachelor, for anyone who still thinks he's old or whatever. And I just thought it was a very moving story that I was glad they included. And I also liked how emotional she got when she said she doesn't know if she'll be able to open up in time. I think it shows that she's super into him. Like, she almost cried when she said that.
I know. And obviously that's something that she struggled with in the past.
Totally, yeah.
And I really liked when Ari asked her, like, she said normally she would put guys in the friend zone for, like, 6 months, was it?
Yeah, she said 6 months. Yeah.
Before actually committing to them, and he, like, his question of just, like, why do you think that is, was so nice to hear, because he obviously wants to understand her on a deeper level, and I feel like those are the questions, I mean, just from watching this one episode alone of Ari, those are the questions that he seems to ask all the time that allow him to go so much deeper with the girls, which confuses the hell out of me as to why he was ever... Unpopular. Or is ever talked about as, like, a boring bachelor.
Yeah,
those are the things that are the most interesting to me.
Yeah, he listens and asks questions. Okay, in general, I like this relationship. There's a slower burn here for sure, but I like that he's so intrigued because it's, you know, he has a ton of selection, and so he's so intrigued by someone who's like slower to open up, and that says a lot. Okay, group date, the Moulin Rouge group date.
Oh yes.
I thought this was a really cool date. And the girls seemed, like, appropriately excited about it.
Yeah, I would be excited about it.
Okay, I have to say I'm mixed on this date in that I get... Okay, this is like, we're going to have a little, like, feminist moment right now. I get why they're wearing the costumes they're wearing, because it's, like, Moulin Rouge, and they generally, you know, wear the skirts and the thongs, and, like, I understand that it's in the theme of the date. It's not, like, riding tractors wearing bikinis on Crystal's season. That said, it still felt creepy to me when they were just taking turns, like walking the catwalk down towards him, and they would turn and there's like a black bar on their ass. And I was like, this is weird and creepy.
Yeah.
It felt kind of like...
And what is Ari supposed to do? He's just like...
Yeah, he's just like, looks good. It just felt kind of like creepy and like objectifying to me. It felt a bit like the swimsuit portion of like a Miss America or Miss USA, I don't know, some pageant. Yeah. Which I already find kind of creepy and weird anyway, the swimsuit parts. I just don't think it's relevant to whether or not someone should win. Yeah. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on that. And then Becca M gets the group date rose. And I thought it was super cute when she got it. She almost cried.
Yeah, I know. She was so thrilled. Yeah. That was really sweet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I feel like she's more into him than she thought she would be.
Right.
For sure.
Although... What was that part that happened that you and I both were like,
Oh, yeah, after they spent time on stage, she said, I got the group date rose, which means I'll be here for another week. And we were both like, that's a weird way of putting it.
Yeah, that's such a weird way.
And then she was like, and I really like Ari, and I'm so happy and I'm so moved. It was such a meaning. It really meant a lot to get this right. I just thought it was interesting that the first thing she said was, it means I'll be here for another week.
Yeah, and you could tell that was genuinely, I think what was most
it was like a little word vomiting.
The fact that, it was like, she was like, oh God, okay.
Okay. Well. Sorry. Okay, so 2-on-1 date with Crystal and Kendall. This date, you know your relationship's not going well when Ari, in a voiceover leading into the date, he says, you know, with Crystal, things started out really well and have been sort of just going downhill ever since. I just thought this was hilarious. It's like, sounds great. Okay, and then Ari and Crystal have their conversation. He says, and he like really pinpoints what how he felt about the conflict and what he thinks Crystal did wrong. And then she pretty much responds with like a giant, challenges happen. Yeah. And took no responsibility and didn't even really respond to what he had just said.
Yeah, she's very good at dodging questions and like not
and responsibility. In general.
Exactly.
Yes. And has there ever been a lead? Did this happen on your 2-on-1 date? Where one of the guys talked shit about the other guy?
No, that didn't happen.
You had such a classy guy. Shit,
Canadians,
men. Canadian men. Well, on the American show, as is tradition, it seems that one contestant goes and talks shit about the other contestant, and then has there ever been a lead who then didn't promptly take that information and go right to the other contestant and tell them what was just said?
Right.
It happens like every single season. Anyway, Kendall obviously carried herself wonderfully, and I just wish we'd seen that final conversation between Ari and Kendall before he sent Crystal home. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, it's just like, he's like, Kendall, can I talk to you? And then he came back and gave her the rose and not Crystal. I just thought felt like that was a conversation that we should have seen. Yeah. Okay, Jacqueline's 1-on-1. She's hilarious.
Which one is the
Jacqueline, the one with the curly hair.
Oh, yeah.
I felt
was
like
so
I was
funny.
given a pony for Christmas, but it's also like, if you don't learn to ride this pony correctly by the end of the day, it'll be shot.
I know. Yeah, I was surprised. Okay, so obviously, again, only seeing this one episode, but Sharleen had said that, like, she barely had any screen time, like, hardly ever spoke, and then this was sort of her introduction into...
Okay, I've been keeping track. A bit of her one-on-one time from night one was shown, and we saw... That was it for a long, long time, and then last week we saw a bit of her conversation, because it sort of tied into her getting the rose ceremony rose, and I guess it was a little foreshadowing for her one-on-one this week, but literally 3 whole episodes went by where we didn't, I don't think we heard one peep out of her. So what I was about to say about that is she's so funny that I'm annoyed we haven't seen more of her.
Yeah, she was hilarious.
And as convincing as their fun together is to me, her lack of airtime keeps me from taking things super seriously. Mm-hmm. Those are my notes.
Well,
I keep
maybe
notes.
it'll creep up on you. You don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, rose ceremony. Okay, one thing I have to say is it seems like I am convinced that the women are super into him.
Yeah, they all seem extremely into him.
Yeah,
I
like
would
not
be.
faking it. I know, I'm kind of into him.
Yeah, 100%.
And I've had a lot of commenters on the blog say that they too are kind of like, if I weren't married, like I have a little crush on Ari, which I think is a testament to him.
Totally. Imagine like spending time with someone who pays this much attention to you, genuine interest in you, trying to understand you as a person. Like you can't not connect with him. I feel like he's doing a great job of like.
I feel like if you don't connect with him, that's on you.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like yeah. I feel like he's doing a good job of like really making real connections with these girls.
Yes.
And it shows.
The clip with Lauren at the end of this rose ceremony I thought was interesting because they did not have to show this, but it almost showed like her actually opening up, as we discussed.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And I just feel like this is also something that viewers who maybe don't like him as much as they thought they might or wanted to, they should take stock of the fact that the women are this into him because it's those are the things that matter and it says something. And I just thought the clip at the end was surprisingly sweet. You know how it's like a funny moment? And it was just a sentimental moment with Lauren and Ari dancing to a street performer, to the music of a street performer. And I thought the fact that this was shown made me take their relationship like that bit more seriously.
I also liked Ari in this little clip again because he made eye contact with the street performer and was like...
It was really cute.
I was like, oh, that's nice.
Okay, I have a couple of sorry, I totally talked over you. I have a couple of questions. The first is from Sarah. Do you think that Ari leaving Crystal at the restaurant was unnecessarily cruel after all the time they had spent together? It seemed callous. I see your point, but I kind of feel like he was done with her, and I feel like he was done with her before Paris. I feel like he did not want to bring her to Paris, actually, based on how he even said her name at that rose ceremony last week. And, you know, I kind of, karma's a bitch. Like, I see what you're saying, Sarah, in that the time they spent together, it did not seem, their breakup didn't seem to do that justice, because they did have such a connection built up. But I just have so little sympathy for her at that point that it didn't bother me that much because I'm a terrible person.
And she got to watch the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, she got to
stand there alone in the dark.
Yeah,
they were up there making out.
Okay, Ishani asks, sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Why the F did Ari keep Lauren B? What do you make of the clip of her seemingly talking to a producer at the end of the show?